Some people aren't even feeling the idea of having an older Spider-Man, despite the fact he's literally been running his own company in the comics. Let's talk about how Spider-Man's going to approach it on the PlayStation 4. So I think many of us, the moment we saw Spider-Man on the PlayStation 4, knew we were going to be getting something special. Not just from the early teaser, but also from the fact that it has, in my opinion, one of the best industry experts when it comes to making video games from Insomniac. I've honestly enjoyed all of their video games that I've ever played, and I started playing all their games pretty early on, so I've been a huge fan ever since the original Spyro, which, yes kids, I was old enough to play the original Spyro right when it came out and remember it very vividly, so I'm old. But you know, when it comes to Spider-Man, it's something that's held a very special place in my heart. I've talked about how I experienced Spider-Man throughout my life, and honestly, just looking at Peter Parker and how they're shaping him up in this, it was awesome to hear Insomniac specifically talk about what kind of inspired them to give us the version of Spider-Man that we're getting in this. And they go on and talk about how, you know, he's 23 in this, and typically Peter Parker becomes Spider-Man at the age 15 to 16, so we're already picking up well into his established adulthood and career, where that's the direction they want to take it in, because that's not really explored with many of these Spider-Man games and properties. And they said that this is one of the important things they wanted to do, specifically set it in this time, because around age 23 or so is when you start to really shape your adulthood life. You know, this is where you're making new friends, stop being friends with old friends. This is when you start building your career and everything, and life takes a pretty different turn. And honestly, as someone that's went through that, I can tell you 100% this is factual. Your best friends in high school, you'll be lucky if you talk to them a couple times a year, because you take different paths and naturally grow differently. Some of you might become more adult and realize what you need to do. Some might still be drinking, out on a Tuesday night and be working at the gas station. So things naturally have to kind of go in a different direction, and that's the direction they want to take Spider-Man in. Something where Peter Parker is much older and wiser. And also in the formation of their Spider-Verse, they said, this was something that they really wanted the players to experience, and that's why we are going to be playing as Peter Parker and seeing how his relationship with MJ has grown, because it's something that they really want to stress out and really focus on the story. Who is Peter Parker? Which honestly just gets me more excited than I've ever been, and I just can't wait to get my hands on it and experience that world. You guys, let me know how you feel about this, and is this something that interests many of you? Because I know it interests me in the comics, but many people complained about the fact that Peter Parker had to grow up in the comics, so then they have to keep making him young in the throwback comics, which honestly I'm kind of getting a little sick of.